drinking. Hi everyone!
Hi Blaise.
My name is Blaise. I think I've spoken to everyone. Welcome to Open Mic Night number 16. So we have a few readers tonight, which is great. And getting a nice constant amount of people, which I'm really happy about. So thanks for continuing to come every month. It's fantastic. So I'm going to start with you, Bo.
Okay.
What's SS? Short story?
Short story?
Yes. Come on down.
Before I subject you to this, I figure I might as well start on a high note and talk about page 17. For anyone who doesn't know, page 17 is a Busybird production. We're an annual anthology of short stories, poetry, non-fiction. We'll have a whole shaboodle. We'll probably have someone special to launch. Maybe Richard Flankin if he returns my calls. just assume he'll be there. So I'd love to see everyone there. Spread the word. November 19th, 7 p.m, page 17, issue 11, big bang shebang. I might as well move on to my stuff now, just to close on a low note.
Oh no.
So this is only about 1,500 words, so I might as well just read the whole thing. It's called Not Yet. Don miles over the phone call made 3 days ago to his sister Erin. As far as I know, Maya's free this Saturday, she has said, before adding, but she's seeing you whether she's busy or not. Don later found out that Maya had already made other plans to see a school friend, but as far as Erin was concerned, Maya has a duty to see her father. He's still unsettled by the third party directing the relationship between father and daughter. Don is standing in the middle of the street, frowning every time the sharp heat of the sun bursts through the patchy cloud cover. Maya insists on using public transport, so he made sure to get to the designated tram stop early, perhaps too early as his knees already ached from standing stationary. Then he sees a flash of blood-coloured hair tied loosely at the back with a black scrunchie appear and vanish in the bustle of the other commuters filing on and off the latest tram. For 1 second, Don wishes that his sister's voice were on call, telling him to get a grip, offering advice as she always does, with a pressure that makes it not a recommendation, but an irrevocable law. Maya, he finally manages. She is summoned from the crowd as if she were at the beck and call of a voice she respects rather than her father's. The look in her eyes is nervous but intense. How are those eyes different? Do they belong to the same girl who stared him down on that one night all those months ago, when she pushed him away as she pushed herself away, shining in the night with all her fury and all her 13-year-old righteousness? Those eyes are like Erica come back to life, thinks Don. They both say hi. They speak at the same time and the voices are playing together. Maya fidgets with her frock, simple and plain, a floral pattern stitched in a strip along the side, her thin pale legs poking through and ending in light blue slip-ons. All her colours are soft and neutral. Don can only think of it as a disguise. He can see the mark on the side of her nose where she's removed a start and casually, "Dad, you gotta relax." "Since when were you the voice of calm?" he says, harsher than intended. In a heartbeat, Maya's eyes become electric, stirred to life like metal fibres aroused by a magnet. "I wanted this to be a good day," she says at length. "So do I. I'm on my best behaviour." "I've noticed," says Don, nodding like a fool, and you didn't say anything about it. "What could I say? I'm trying here and you don't care." She lingers on this last word, sharpening it like a weapon. Her eyes let him go as she looks away, staring onward at something, anything. She moves off and Don follows, entranced by the chimera he's accompanying. A composite containing the vague traces of the young girl Maya once was, the uncompromising teenager, and the emerging bud of Erica's self-assured dignity. She heads for the butterfly house as if it were a sanctuary, nearly tripping over an elderly tourist to get in before him. Don follows and slows his breathing as he's immersed in the thick heat of the glasshouse. Maya, playing with a fern frond, pays no attention to him. Butterflies. The blue-winged butterfly returns and Maya has lost sight of it. The butterfly arcs around to the back of her head like a hawk searching for prey and finds her hair. Only then does Don remember the hair clip, except that in his mind's eye the hair is slightly darker than Maya's, and the butterfly's wings are slightly more silvery blue, like a moon crafted into a new shape. He hated that butterfly clip, but Erica loved it, and they had plenty of play fights every time Erica put it on. He moves over to Maya, who pretends not to notice. I miss her too, he says. You should know that. Maya's face hardens. It's not the same, but I'd like you to come home. The butterflies frame them and he wants to bat them away.
Read it. It's actually quite good quality, as good as some professional photographers. And it is actually for sale, so if anything strikes your fancy, we're not taking any commission or anything. The kids are getting all the money. We're not charging for them to exhibit. We just want to encourage them to see their work up on the walls. Pamela. Oh, the front. Sorry, Pamela. Pamela's going to give us another instalment of her memoir.
Last month I spoke to you about the contract in Bukweli, and after Bukweli I went straight to London on my own and managed to get a contract within a week at the Wimble Theatre in London, which I don't know if you know, it was one of the major subjects for Mrs. Henderson Presents the Film, and I danced like those girls did, but a few decades earlier. So this is the second part, and I've really got the contract. So I continue, and this is an original photo of me as a honky-tonk girl in one of the numbers from the Windmill, and that's me there.
Can I show that around?
Yeah, it's an original.
Maybe pass it back.
So I'm really in, and I've spent in the first part all about the history of the Wimble, which is quite interesting, and I'll start that. The staff and cast were always treated well. When I worked there, Kenneth Bandy was still the press representative, Ben Stiller the doorman, and Keith Lester the chief choreographer. In his youth, Keith Lester, ballet dancer, partnered some of the most acclaimed prima ballerinas of the day. He choreographed the legendary fan dance. Other famous artists who trod the boards were Jimmy Edwards, Harry Seacombe, Tony Hancock, Peter Sellers, Bruce Forsyth, Des O'Connor and George Carr. The girls were friendly and several of them considered the Wimble their home. It was exhausting, non-stop shows and rehearsals. One day I was late for rehearsals. Keith Lester looked daggers at me and vowed if I was late again, instant dismissal. Hard, coping with problems in my digs. 2 Indians had moved into the room opposite mine, constantly annoying me, asking for sugar, coffee, any excuse, talking in whispers conspicuously. Nervous and frightened, something had to change. Waking up late again, help! I powdered my face with talcum powder, and on arrival told them I felt sick. They were kind, allowed me to rest, and feeling relieved, I rehearsed as normal. Immediately I bought an alarm clock and was never late again. For the show to run non-stop 6 days a week, 2 companies were necessary, called A and B. I was selected for Company A and danced in the reviews 323, 324 and 325. 2 dancers learnt the same role, which alternated according to the weekly schedule. We performed 4 numbers per show, although we learnt 8 numbers in case of any mishap. We shared costumes but kept our personal stylists, gluing them onto our groups for spectacular numbers. Routines were lively, burlesque or classical, always tastefully presented. Favourite numbers I danced included the can-can, Charleston, Spanish. She was interested and surprisingly said, perform it in the 5th show at night. I did. Alas, tit for tat. My name was there for nude for the next review. My heart beat wildly. I adored the show and lifestyle, and the temptation to stay was enormous. It was March, and summer seasons were commencing soon. Surely I could find another dancing job soon. No, I just couldn't do it. When I told them my decision, I was immediately banished from the theatre without time to say goodbye to the girls. Utterly dejected, I left. Ironically, with 2 more weeks' work, I would have received some holiday pay.
not mixing it up tonight because everyone who's put their name down is like, oh, that works well after each other. So, Gabrielle, come on down. Gabrielle's reading some historical fiction, The Year of the Lily-Weed. Thank you.
A hard act to follow, fan dancer. I feel very ordinary. This is an excerpt from my manuscript called The Year of the Lily-Weeds, in which I wanted to try and memorialise or pay tribute to those women of the 20th century who just got on with it. I spent a long time, one day a week for many years, listening to old ladies in a nursing home, a Catholic nursing home in Northcote, tell their stories, and they had this wonderful tenacity whereby they might have had dreams and unfulfilled longings and wishes, but none of those were fulfilled, and they just got on with it. So this is the story of Bridie Bowden in 1950, who lives in the country with a hard-working, taciturn, fairly emotionally unavailable husband and her 3 children. She has no family except one auntie, Kit, who lives in Brisbane. It's set on the Tweed Valley up north. And this chapter is called Kit's on the Bus. Kit only visited once or twice a year, but the sight of her sitting up on the Greyhound bus, handbag clutched in her lap, ready for the return journey, wrenched Bridie's heart every time. How she hated to see her go. The driver always seemed to start the engine ages before they actually departed, and it was a dead and awkward time. Goodbyes had been said, home James and don't spare the horses, as whenever any of them set off on a journey. Waving done, kisses blown, but still the passengers sat inside the stationary bus, its rumbling and shuddering too noisy for anyone to speak or to be heard. Finally, with a great hiss of the brakes, he chose to abandon her after the war and set up with someone half his age. Kit, whose seedy little flat at the back of someone's house in the Gabba was not even lined, neither against the winter chill nor the hot dusty winds of summer. Bridie shook her head. I hate her going. She should come and live with me. Why doesn't she? Oh, she says she loves the city, but I think it's just her being independent. I don't think she and Jack would last long together either. Jacob knew this was not his subject to comment on, so he started to move back towards his truck. Do you need anything while we're in here? No, we're right, thank you. Jacob helped her into the cabin of the truck and they set off out of town, Bridie shrinking at the thought that anyone might notice her sitting up here in this strange man's truck for all the world to see. On the ride out to Sweetman's Road, Bridie stayed silent, staring out the window at the flat fields where new shoots of green cane emerged in rows from the ash-blackened earth. Behind the cane paddocks, in the direction they were headed, sat the layers of green and gold and blue where flats turned into hills and hills into mountains. Further on, the deeper blue of the great dividing range towered over the valley like a guardian. What if she were to leave this valley? Wherever would she go, and what might she find? So, Jacob ventured to break into her silence. How did your aunt's visit go? A success? Bridie stayed quiet while she thought about the week just gone. Oh, I think I spoilt her. Jacob turned to look at her, eyebrows raised questioningly. That doesn't sound like you. Oh, I didn't mean to. Auntie Kit told me some things that I didn't know. And well, I just felt too sad to speak. Now I feel bad that I might have spoilt her holiday. Well, maybe you can get her down again when you're feeling better about it. Bridie felt at a loss at his assumption that she might have what it takes to get her down again. Was she so hopeless that she could make nothing happen on her own? How do you make things happen? She didn't know. Once again, she felt that yearning for something that she couldn't even name, a longing so great it made her want to lean forward, reaching in vain for something out there that was and always would be beyond her. Maybe, was all she said. She didn't glance up at her own house up there on the hill as they drove past and wound their way up the red clay road and pulled into Mick and Elsie's old cottage. It seemed so quiet. She was sure that any newcomer wandering past would just know it was empty. The scent of lemon leaves and the straggly old curry bush wafted up around them again as they walked down the side path and up the steps into the veranda. The door was closed but not locked. I had no key last time, Jacob told her, but I was pretty sure no one would want to take anything. No, they don't around here. He still felt like an outsider, aware that she was a local, something he would never do.
Whereabouts in the book is that?
About 3/4 of the way through.
Cool. We'll have to watch the space to read. Maybe you'll come back and read another part. Just a reminder that Kev is videoing everybody tonight, so if you don't want to be on YouTube, please tell him, because we just automatically put it up unless you say otherwise. It's a really good way of looking at yourself and seeing how you read. Has anyone been doing that? There? There you go. Next up is Colleen with a short story, The Huntsman. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm sure there's a few ladies here that are a bit nervous about spiders. It's usually the ladies. Anyway, this is one of my very early pieces, so I hope it's okay. The Huntsman. Oh my godfather! Is that a huge spider I can see over there on the wall? Where? Margie replied, peering up at the ceiling and searching the shadowy corners of the room. Up until this point, Julie and Margie had been enjoying themselves. The blokes had turned in early for the evening, along with the kids who were already fed, bathed and tucked up asleep in bed, which left only the two women, Julie and her mother-in-law, seated in front of a crackling log fire, enjoying a lazy Saturday night at the family holiday house. It's on the wall, above the kitchen, Julie pointed. You do realise, of course, Margie, that you'll have to kill it. Julie, there's no way in the world I can reach up there. So just make certain that you close your door before you hop into bed. You don't seriously believe, even for 1 minute, it would travel that far? Julie asked in horror, as though her bedroom was situated on the far side of the moon, rather than merely a matter of metres away. Hey, hang on. Look. Looks as if it might be moving, and provided it comes down low enough, I can trap it in a jar and turf it outdoors, Margie explained. That's no good, it'll just come back inside again. I like my spiders' heads displayed dead on the end of a stake, as an example to show the others they're not welcome. It is perhaps worth noting that these brutal words were being spoken by a gentle young mother who was usually most sympathetic to the plight of all living creatures. But it seemed spiders were the exception to the rule. And by this stage the two were up out of their seats and closely observing the source of their dilemma. Intense discussion followed as the spider slowly descended. Unthreatened, it continued. Gee, thanks, Margie. You're such a hero, Julie said in obvious relief. But so much for the humane bit, she chuckled. What went wrong? Choosing not to answer the question, Margie then decided to deliver the bad news to Julie, which immediately wiped the delighted grin off her face. Of course you do realise, Julie, that where there's one spider, you can usually expect to see another. They both shivered and carefully inspected every inch of the walls and rafters before bidding each other good night and climbing into bed. As Margie lay in the darkness, her heart was still pounding. She was aware of several quickening palpitations, knocking the lamp base clear off the table. The spider fell into the sock, and she belted it relentlessly with the sole of her slipper as though there were no tomorrows, and it were her deadliest of enemies. In a moment of panic and sheer desperation, in order to eliminate that which she feared, a normally calm and measured human being had suddenly turned into a frenzied attacker, and alas, before the clock ticked round to midnight, another life was ended.
I might not sleep. Although I'm usually the one who has to get the spoon.
Oh, shut up. Everyone, that is so not true, all right?
Besides the page 17 launch next month, which is pretty cool if it's open mic night number 17 and we're launching page 17, that's pretty cool. But on the 22nd of November, we'll be launching Kev's book here. Does anyone know what that might be? So it's called, for those who don't know, it's called Walk With Me. It's a photographic coffee table book of Kev's trip to Mount Everest Base Camp. It is going to be a stunning book. It's just about to go to the printers, so we're all very excited about that. But also, there's going to be pictures on the walls of Kev and his mate Norm, who went on the trek with him. So there's going to be big panoramic pictures here from Mount Everest, which is going to be gorgeous. And we're very excited because we have, I hope I can get his name right, the Honorary Consul General of
Nepal
for Victoria coming to launch the book. So that's pretty exciting. And Kev is also going to be a part of a Nepalese festival at Fed Square on the first weekend of November. So these are all pretty exciting things happening. So there are going to be, I was hoping they were going to be ready today, but the invitations are at the printers. Most of you will probably get one in the mail. If not, we will have them here, and it'll be on Facebook, and it'll go out in email and everything, because we're expecting them to. Larry, come on down, up. Larry is going to read some memoir called One Day.
Yeah, welcome everyone. It's nice to be here. Thanks Kevin and Blaise for the opportunity to be able to read. This is my fourth read. The first one I did about my pop, and then the next one was about Peter the front seater, my kindergarten friend, and last week was about my daughter sitting on the pyramids. And this one's called One Day, and this is a story about my dad and two events that happened nearly exactly 50 years apart. September 1960 and September 2010 when I wrote this. One day, we could hear our young hearts thumping, pounding hard up against the old splintered hardwood palings as they dug painfully into our tiny, weak fingertips. We hung there, our barter shoes tippy-toed on fence palings, dinner plate eyes peering over the top. Then we saw it. He snuck up and grabbed her from behind, pulled her neck back, and in one swift murderous slash cut her throat, and her head came right off. The chook then ran around the yard headless, blood spurting over the other chooks. Then he did the next one. It freaked us out. The first time my little brother got such a shock he fell backwards into the cabbages and peas. At first we thought the Dago neighbours were just from another planet. Apparently that's why they like the name Wog better. The narrow little weatherboard houses in the 50s in the inner Melbourne working class suburb of Footscray are very close together. So close, their paper thin lives and their paper-thin walls that envelop them can hardly contain their little barren little dreams. My neighbour Richard is my best friend. He's taller than me, he's smarter than me, he's a lot older than me, by 4 months in fact. He is 4.5. Richard is showing me the ropes. We were all dragged up together in the narrow bluestone laneway. The first time I see this, I am blown away. I don't know what to make of it. We are sitting at Richard's kitchen table, chucking down a few icy cold glasses of milk, when out of the blue, his dad picks Richard up and sits him on his knee and gives him a hug. It is the strangest thing I've ever seen. Richard's dad works lots, so I hardly ever see him with Richard. But from this point on, when I do see them, I am compelled to stare. And yes, from time to time, Richard's dad kisses him and even chats with him. Although very odd behaviour for a dad, I'm sort of envious. Early every Sunday, Dad and I make that a go. I quicken my stride until I'm right beside Dad. I pluck up the courage. I put my hand up in the hope he will see it. Clasp it. His hands stay deep in his pocket. His eyes set firmly on the pavement cracks ahead. Deep in thought. He doesn't notice my hand. He has a lot on his mind. Every Sunday I follow the same ritual. I put my hand up. When it gets tired, I just put it down again. It is never held. Another winter comes. It is far too cold. Dad and I both keep our hands in our pockets, where they belong. Keeps them warm, it's probably better. Many cold winters come and go, and my world expands beyond the confines of the Gordon Street weatherboards. I witness similar strange sightings, other mates, other dads, callous hand dads who out talk and laugh some more. So this is what it is like. I am witnessing something I've never seen before. I am seeing a sunrise for the first time in my life. A wow moment, up there with the day my children were born. Imagining your whole life was contained in just one day, one conversation, one tiny day. I keep looking over to see if it is really him talking to me. I am 4 again, having my hand held. Luckily there is an accident on the Tullamarine Freeway. We're stuck in traffic for hours. We talk all the way home. Dad expresses his gratitude for today and leading up to the hearing. His smile says the rest. I've never seen him so happy. He bids me farewell and extends his arm to shake my hand. I ignore it. He puts his hand back in his pocket. I lean over and hug him. Thanks, catch you next time, son. Time goes so quickly. At 83, the dementia is not getting any better. It is now 6 months since that day.
I wanted to, I forgot to say before, about the Walk With Me book. It really wouldn't have been possible if it hadn't been for so many fantastic people that pledged money to our fundraising campaign. All in all, we had about almost 80 people, actually it is over 80 people who have put either money or time towards the book. And in fact, the person who's actually doing the design and layout of the book, he's given all of his time for free. So I can't wait to actually be able to show everyone. So, Sue Welsh, hiding up the back there. Come on down. Sue has a poem and a short story.
I do.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to start off with the poem. It's self-inspired. You need a moment or two to work out why. It's called Shock Horror. Ladies. Ladies, don't wear your glasses in the bathroom after 50. Please, leave your glasses on the shelf. If you want to go on thinking that you still look rather nifty, you'd better leave your glasses on the shelf. Don't admire your figure, because your bum will sure look bigger when you see it all in focus from behind. And if you don't like your wrinkles or your crow's feet or your laugh lines, lack of glasses keeps a man of sight and mind. Look, your eyebrows both are suffering from the strong law of gravity. They've headed south and sprouted from your chin. You still have your teeth, but filled, or you don't, and they are false. But at least you've finally got that. Film star's grin. My suggestion is you focus on a level of delusion and enjoy a soft lens blur across your eyes. Because if you peer into the mist, it troubled him somewhat. So Arthur enrolled in grief counselling, just in case he wasn't doing it right. The lady counsellor was very understanding. She told him what things he should do, so he did them. It didn't take long, and then he went and read the newspaper. Get a hobby, the counsellor had said. Well, where to begin? There was a list of things he'd put off doing because Philly didn't want to join. Arthur drove himself down to the community clubhouse and enrolled in League. Loony elders acting peculiar, he told himself, and then he told himself off. Then he enrolled in the U3A and he made an appointment to join the men's shed get-together next Wednesday. Get on with your life. Make sure you don't neglect yourself. Eat properly, the counsellor had urged him. So Arthur went shopping. Usually, he pushed the trolley around the supermarket. Philly filled it, he paid for it, put it in the car, she unpacked it and cooked it. The whole process just worked somehow. Arthur wondered if he should feel guilty. He tried, but couldn't. At home there was nothing like enough room in the pantry. He looked around for other options. Philly's clothes had gone. The daughters-in-law had cleared out her clothes for him, so there was plenty of room in her closet. Well, why not? Thought Arthur. What's in a name? A wardrobe by any other name will store things just as well. Arthur straightened up and admired his handiwork. He thought the shoe rack looked rather neat with tins on the bottom row and packets on the top row. Philly would approve of this, he mused. Or maybe not. Where would she have put her shoes? Oh well, it doesn't matter now. He nodded contentedly and went and made himself a cup of instant cappuccino with extra chocolate topping. Forgot the tea bags, he smiled and licked his chocolatey lips. The house will seem empty, the lady had told him for grief counselling. Not a chance, thought Arthur. This place is busier than Flinders Street Station at 8 a.m. On every flat surface, Dresden ladies stood, curtsied, sniffed flowers, held cats, birds, baskets, or just smiled their watery grey and white smiles. Philly liked them, so every birthday and every Mother's Day, 2 more were added to their collection. 4 a year. The daughters-in-law competed to produce the prettiest and outdo each other. 4 figures danced on one speaker box. Arthur wondered if he turned the volume up really loud.
Thank you. Coral. Coral has a short story, The Edge of the World.
I think I've changed my mind.
That's okay. You're allowed to change your mind.
It's just a little bit longer. I was just a bit worried about length.
That's okay. Come on.
I thought because it was the Spring Racing Carnival that I'd bring a racing story. So this is called Carnival Cringe. My boyfriend Sean was taking me to Spring Racing Carnival. He was a rep with the Foster's Group and the company always organised a day for their staff and clients, marquee, catering, the lot. I picked up some anxiety on Sean's part concerning how I would brush up for the occasion, originating probably from the fact that I spent most of my life in tracksuit pants and an I Love San Francisco t-shirt, which my brother brought back from a trip to America. I don't blame Sean. He wanted everything to be right to impress his boss, who drove a top-of-the-range Mercedes, and whose wife, the one time I met her, looked like an escapade from a Turat hairdressing salon and wore a diamond ring the size of an oyster. I understand Sean's anxiety. But it wasn't my job to impress. After all, he wasn't my boss. Still, I wanted to help Sean out, so I tramped from store to store, starting from where we lived in Northcote and wending my way through to Carlton and the city, eventually ending up in Chadstone, the fashion capital of the world, or at least Australia. By this time I wasn't so much tramping as dragging. I'd found nothing and shouldn't have been surprised. It's a universal law, a conspiracy of some sort, that the only time you find what you're looking for is when you're not looking. I complained to Sean that he was unsympathetic. "You have to wear a hat," he said, as he tucked into his spaghetti bolognese. "Everyone does." He didn't understand. Men don't. It's easy for them. All they need is a suit that fits reasonably well, a tie to match the shirt, clean shoes, and they're away. I knew what I wanted. It fell softly from my ample bust past my recently thickened waist, too much spaghetti bolognese, and draped serenely over my hips, disguising my well-rounded butt. I knew it existed. I had in the mirror, grabbed my bag and tottered out to the car. "I've got to sit down soon," I said, grabbing his arm to stop myself from plummeting into the remains of someone's champagne breakfast. We'd been standing in the car park for half an hour and already my overworked thigh and calf muscles were aching and my toes were screaming for the band-aids I'd forgotten to bring. "Here they are," Sean waved. "Ron." "Sorry, mate," said Ron, charging towards us while Michelle staggered behind in almost non-existent sandals that were even higher than mine. "Can't believe it takes women so long to get ready." Michelle glared at him as she caught up. I'd only met her once, but she offered me her cheek. Lovely hat. "Straighten your hat up," Sean said under his breath. "Oh, right." There'd been some hold-up with the food. The third race had been run and we still hadn't eaten. The boss had sent someone to check it out. He was noticeably upset, probably embarrassed. He had clients to entertain and they wouldn't have been impressed. In the meantime, I was deciding whether I should go for the third champagne. It was on the house, and considering what it had cost me to get here, I thought I should take advantage. It was pink, sparkling, shimmering in the light, and inviting me. "You've had enough to drink." "What?" Who did he think he was, telling me what to do? A delicious aroma drifted in through the opening at the far end of the marquee. "Here comes the food. Have something to eat. You can't get pissed here." "Pissed? What are you talking about? When did I ever get pissed?" "Well, lunch with his parents, admittedly. But I was nervous. Everyone's nervous meeting the olds for the first time. And his father had bought the red wine especially. I had to be polite. How did I know how potent it was? I remember spending an indeterminate amount of time debating with his father the fors and against of the American electoral system, something I know nothing whatever about, while totally losing track of his mother, except for her rather taut face as Sean manoeuvred me down the front steps to the car. I got the silent treatment for 2 days over that one. Sean's very close to his mother. One always assumes for some reason that the upper classes, that is to say rich people, have manners to go with their station. Not when they're hungry, believe me. It was like a flock of vultures tearing into a carcass. By the time I got to the table, I had the choice of the remains of several strangely coloured dips, a few broken dry biscuits, and 3 sandwiches with the lettuce hanging out, but the innards gone. It was, therefore, a foregone conclusion that I would get at least mildly drunk. At one stage I found myself leaning against the shoulder of Sean's marketing in red and green. They won. I heard a piercing yell as they passed the winning post well ahead of the others, but had to look around to realise it had come from me. I felt sick. Faces rippled in front of me, men's faces. I hadn't seen a woman in ages. I think they were smiling. Everyone seemed to be smiling as I rolled gently sideways and floated past the table before settling into the soft grass. Sean shifted out a week later. He was kind and slightly patronising as he explained that it wasn't personal, we were on different paths. He was up with the mobile. He left where I was heading unsaid. A month later, I was in David Jones heading for the up escalator when his father came down off the down, and we literally ran into each other. "Martin," I gasped. He grabbed my hand in delight. "You know," he said, "that debate we had over the Americans was the best fun I've had in years." I stared astonished. "We should do it again." "I've broken up with Sean." "Ah, yes, sad. Our loss. I tell you, you're a cut above anything else he's brought home." "I don't think Sean would agree with you." He took my elbow and eased me into a quiet spot behind the kitchen appliances. "Sean's always been a bit conservative," he said, "like his mother. Not what you need." He patted my arm. "Something a bit livelier for you." "Do you think?" "Sure, if I was 30 years younger." I laughed. "He had that effect on me. There's a bottle of red waiting. You could help me knock it off. I need a good argument. Life's much too respectable. I don't think Joan would approve." "You're probably right." He smiled and started moving away. "Get yourself a real man, preferably a drinker."
Thanks, Carol. Chris, where is Chris? Oh, over there, sorry, come up. Chris has got some microfiction and poetry. I wanted you, and the winner is, oh, there's a theme going there.
So you're going to have to raise the mic
Yeah.
to 6'2".
Right.
That's good. Pardon?
It's nothing to do with you.
You're leaving.
It's Blaise.
I'm just the nervous. She's my right, so
I'll know you next time I see you.
Enjoy your night.
See you guys.
Actually, I think I'll go for poetry because we haven't poetry. Right. 2 poems. The winner is set this year. I Wanted You is set in 1966. So let's start with the winner is. This is about Gaza, actually. What's been happening in Gaza. And the winner is the Luger, for its heft in the hand, and its kick on the wrist, and the spin and clatter of a shell casing. And the winner is the needle, for the morphine drip that pushes through its narrow, hollow tip to join the busy flow of blood. And the winners are the bones, because they outlast the flesh and lie around bereft of allegiances, brittle badges of death. And the winner is the soul, like a dove or a wisp of smoke that we imagine rising or floating to a new home where a baby cries. And the winner is the rat tat of the warning shells on the roof that tell you to leave the house, because in 1 hour it will be rubble. And the winner is the army which grinds without remorse, kidnapped, and their parents, and their friends, and the glow of righteous anger that burns away defeat. And the winner is the judgment of Solomon, who waits in his temple, the holiest place in Jerusalem, with an even-handed offer still 1,000 years away. And the winner is the church of the Holy Sepulchre hovering above Jerusalem, its bulbous golden dome pregnant with spores of faith and doom. And the winner is John Kerry, wearied and hopeful, climbing aboard a fast plane, for tomorrow he'll be home in Virginia. And the winners are the Nazis, for the long fuse of their revenge, which is fizzing down to a terrorist's nuclear blast. This is a bit more cheerful. This is a little bit about, this is I Wanted You, and in 1966 I went into one, you remember the old-fashioned phone boxes, you put the coins in, you dart like that, and I rang up the nurse's home, and asked my wife out. But it's a bit difficult because those are the days when there was one phone for 200 girls at a nurse's home and somebody had to fetch her. And I was there waiting, thinking, I've got to say something cool. And I didn't say anything particularly cool, but I did say something. And there was one of them which has gone down into family legend, which is actually the title of the poem. And there's one other thing which was, I was going out with her friend, which always makes things, well, I'd taken her out twice, which always makes things a bit difficult. I wanted you. Do you want Liz? No, I want you. I blurted out in the telephone box. 2 coins had clinked in the slot and brought the taps of your footsteps along the corridor of the nurse's home. No, I didn't want your friend, though we'd had 2 dates and she was nice. I wanted you. I hear them now.
Head to our windows, it's great. I don't know if everyone knows about Untitled, which is an anthology that we publish of short stories. I just wanted to remind people that we're always taking submissions for that. So if you have any short stories or you know someone who has short stories, be sure to go to our website and submit them. We were hoping to publish it around this time of year, but we don't quite have enough content yet, so we'll probably put it forward till maybe Feb March next year. And if you want to have a look at any of the current issues, that there are some up on the shelf if you want to have a look through. Gay. Did anyone speak in after the list was made that wants to read tonight? No? Come on, Gay. Yes. Gay's going to read some poetry. Blue suede shoes, and they are...
I should have a box, shouldn't I? Hello, everybody. Now I'll find my bit here. Wasn't it nice when your eyes were on your face? When you didn't have to look for them all over the place? No one warned me of the changes to my person, and as I raced through the years I was absolutely certain that like a good wine I'd get better with time. So this is a guide for those of you whose age is like mine. Now, what did I come into this room to do? And why am I holding a blue suede shoe? But I digress. The first thing to mention is your hair. It disappears from your eyebrows, your head and everywhere. But what alarms you is when you discover it again, growing with gay abandon all over your chin. You find with surprise a moustache on your lips. Hair removal cream and tweezers give it the slip. This shoe must be a clue as to what I was to do, but let me return to what I was telling you. It appears to me that I'm showing some wear, and the wrinkles are there along with less hair. My figure has blossomed into something much bigger, and there has been some sagging to my hourglass figure. The womanly curves and our mountainous hills. But wait, let me tell you about all my pills. Pink pills for the stomach, white pills for the pain, little round pills to stop something from happening again, and I'm really not sure what the green ones are for, and I've just dropped the big white ones onto the floor. It takes up some time sorting out medication, but if one is not taken, it may cause complications. Well, tonight I'm going to the pub for a meal with Sophie, Julie, Marianne and Lucille. It will be nice if we all remember to come. I'll wear my blue suit with my hair in a bun. But wait, I remember what I'm supposed to do. I have to find the other blue suede shoe. So I'll say goodbye and go search and see. If I can find the other shoe, I may go out to tea. Now, where did I put my glasses? Without them, I can't see. Thank you. And this last poem's called They Are. It's about friends. Friends are jewels. They sparkle, each different in colour and cut. I gather them to me, take them out one by one, to marvel at their uniqueness and beauty. They are bright sparks in a dark sky. They are strength. They are there ready to celebrate my joys and to shoulder my grief.
No.
Yes. Awesome.
Also, can you share what you told us before about your hairdresser?
I had a lovely thrill the other day. A friend of mine wrote me an email and she said, I've just been to my hairdresser, and she was telling me, she said, I've got this wonderful book and it's so great, it's so positive and I'm so excited about it. It's called The Secret Smile by Gay Miller. And my friend said, oh, I know her. But it was such a thrill to me because somebody had bought it and given it to her as a gift. And to find it, in a roundabout way, somebody that you didn't know had the book was really great. So, yeah, that was lovely. And I will sing a song because I like singing a song. I haven't written a new one for a while, but this one is one of the other ones that I've written. I know you feel the same, I've seen it in your eyes, but we could never be, we couldn't stand the lies. I'll never feel your lips on mine, you'll never hold me in your arms, so this is goodbye. We both have families that we could never leave, and not for us a time of secrets and deceit. So I must go away before you say how you feel. So this is goodbye. My tread is heavy and my tears are falling free. I walk away from a love I know could never be. With every step I take, I feel my heart will break, but meeting you has just come too late. So this is goodbye, so this is goodbye. Thank you very much.
That was cardiac. That's a nice way to finish the night. Thanks, Gail. So that's it. That's all the readers for tonight. So thanks everyone for coming. Obviously next month is going to be exciting because we're going to be unveiling the next issue of page 17, which with great thank you to Bo because he has done all of the hard work. And
All of it.
most of the hard work, 90% of the hard work. It is a lot of work to gather all the content together and have it edited and all of that sort of stuff, so I really appreciate that. So hopefully people can come and join the celebration next month for page 17. And then the last one for the year will be in December. We'll have a Christmas party. So maybe we might even have a theme for poetry or something, I don't know. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. But yeah, the Christmas one, I don't think we had a Christmas one last year and someone kept hassling me to have one for Christmas. So we will have a Christmas celebration. So thanks all for coming. Obviously you don't have to leave yet. We've got lots of cake and wine up there, so help us finish it. Thanks everyone.
Blaise, can I just say, I've got the last laugh because I've got 2 pairs of glasses in here.
Are they yours?
Yes,
I didn't see you sneak in.
That's
That's okay.
Thanks for this.
That's okay.
Thanks everyone. I enjoyed it immensely. I just wanted to let people know that in November and December, the first Sunday in November and December, there will be a poetry event at Montsalvat. If anyone is interested and they would like to leave their email with me, I'll send them a notice because some things haven't been finalised yet, so I can't give out a flyer tonight. But it's 1 to 3 in the afternoon in Matcham Studio in Montsalvat.
It's November the 2nd and December the 6th. So if you're interested, come and see me. Thanks very much. Thanks, Blaise.
Mike, if you can send me the information whenever, we'll put it in our newsletter. Yeah. And on the newsletter, if anyone doesn't get our newsletter, there is a sign-up sheet on the table there if you want to add your name to it. We just send the newsletter out once a month with all the information about upcoming events and anything that's happening.